I'm here on the north side for an appointment. I'm going to be tested for COVID. We're going to take a bit of saliva apparently too for some other project that they're doing, studying bacteria I guess in the mouth. And then I'm going to go for a walk somewhere. I imagine I won't be able to take video in there.
It's interesting how you can set out to do one thing and end up doing something completely different. I set off to look for Beaumaris Lake. I ended up exploring Edmonton's military history.
Nice houses along here. Cute little posts.
My first stop was at a statue of Janet Griesbach, the wife of William Griesbach.
You can see the coyote at her feet.
She was a nurse in the First World War and highly active in the growing community of Edmonton afterwards.
Doesn't look like much, but there's a huge hill over there.
At her feet is Lestock, the coyote, who was adopted and became the 49th Battalion's mascot. He traveled with the troops to England and then lived at the Regent Park Zoo in London when the battalion was dispatched to France. I climbed the hill, not really expecting much at the top, but I was looking forward to the view.
Came for a lake, found a hill.
I also found a pile of discarded items. There were no pills in the bottle, just some dried herbs. I put them in the nearby trash can.
The view is quite amazing. So I guess there used to be some barracks here. Kind of interesting, but there's a little map of the area if I can get out of the way. And then we are right here. So there used to be some storage buildings and a railway leading from probably the Yellowhead area. And then in front of us would have been the drill hall and the barracks and quarters and everything. Interesting.
Janet's spouse, William Griesbach, was a brigadier general in World War I, and in addition to being a lawyer and Edmonton's youngest mayor, the Griesbach barracks were named after him. As I looked over the signs, I saw many reference photos showing the barracks during its 51-year history. It was established in 1950, and in addition to training troops how to parachute and do other activities, it also had detention barracks.
Inmates versus staff. We have an annual baseball game. Again, we're still here on the detention barracks was right in there. And the view of the downtown skyline. Amazing to think all of these houses weren't here, 60 years ago or so. There would have been a train track over there.
I looked back over the landscape, imagining what it would have looked like back in the day.
A mock jump tower demonstration. Images from the rifle range. And men participating in the jump course, so learning how to parachute. Again, soldiers doing training. And they'd have open house events.
Of course, they also had housing units for the families and a school nearby.
Regimental days. And then play school barbecue. I just spotted a very interesting building off in the distance. Not where I was planning to go, but I might have to detour through there afterwards. See what that is. But I think my destination is somewhere off over in that direction.
I got a little distracted by the goose flying by. As I walked through the neighborhood, I read a couple of plaques highlighting some significant people including Alberta's oldest surviving World War I veteran and a nurse who cared for soldiers during the war and afterwards.
Good morning, everyone. So, I managed to find Beaumaris Lake. It only took me about, I think, 40 minutes or so, but I kind of had a little bit of a detour on that hill, which is kind of neat. So, I'm gonna walk around, see what's there. And looks like there's a lot of snow and ice, so, but we'll see. I guess the last option is up to you. Oh, not bad. Some reeds out there, which would be good habitat for the nesting birds and maybe red-winged blackbirds during the summer. Lots of space for geese and ducks to spread out. Some bush that they can hide in. There is me. See, the water's starting to look a little spongy.
After assessing the habitat for wildlife, I began my trek around the lake.
Pleasant area. Lots of space to sit in. Actually, I see quite a few lookouts across the way. And then there's one more, I think, on the other side over there. Oh, this is a very nice place.
A house sparrow chirped enthusiastically in the bright morning sun.
May not be able to see it very well, but there's a lot of footprints in the snow and ice.
With so many footprints around, I was bound to see geese. The lake was still pretty solid with ice, but some areas on the edges were starting to open up. Some of the geese seemed content to stand and enjoy the morning sun, but some of them wanted to establish territory and chase intruders away.
A couple of geese way up on the rooftop over there. Oh, one just took off.
Urban geese have become adept at landing on the convenient housetops to look out for intruders, as well as to find creative nesting spaces. Their favorite areas are still to be in the water, and there was a bit of a crowd on the north side where the ice was the thinnest. I could see the trails where the geese had plowed through the slushy water the night before. It felt like I was watching a ballet with the geese strolling on the open ice. One of the geese purposefully walked on the thin ice, and I could hear the ice cracking under the weight of its body. Unfortunately, I missed the moment that it crashed through. I continued around the lake, and from the other side, the ballet had broken out into an all-out brawl. The goose couple chased their intruders away and trumpeted their victory. But that wasn't the end. A couple of moments later, the couple decided that the dispute was not resolved, and they launched another attack. I came across another dispute. This one was between a blue jay who was calling noisily with two squirrels. I'm not sure who won this one.
Just looking for the route out so I can start to head back to my vehicle. Drive back to the south side of Edmonton. Ooh, really noisy magpie. Little fellow, he must be nest building. Grabbed off a twig and flew off, I think. But yeah, just gonna head back to my vehicle now. And kind of glad I walked, because if I had drove, I would have just come to the lake and I would have left. I never would have found that hill and learned about all those veterans who were in the war. It's kind of cool seeing those plaques. Yeah, thank you for coming along. Hope you guys have a great day. So I came this way thinking I'd be able to get out eventually. There's an open lot. So, managed to find the building with the big roof. Looks like it's something kind of under construction. A nice pond. Is it getting finished up? Very cool.
This is the site of the Mui Kwok Buddhist temple. I always love the architecture, as there's so much symbolism in the details. I'll have to return sometime to visit the outer garden at the very least. I hope you enjoyed this varied walk. It was a surprising morning for me, as I didn't think I would end up learning about the barracks or finding a temple under construction. As always, thank you for watching.